Welcome to Hameen Royale. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Today on Meanwhile, we have reached, oh my God.
Can it be?
Part 18. It's the end. It's the end of us. This is the end of the return. This is the last piece of visual Twin Peaks media. Well, timeline-wise by David Lynch. I'm trying to think if there's anything we didn't cover. We kind of did everything.
I think we did everything.
We kind of did everything that Twin Peaks related.
This is, I mean, we still have more things to come after this, but yeah, as the last filmed piece of media for Twin Peaks, this is mind-blowing. It feels like it's been forever, and it's gone so quickly.
It's very bittersweet. But Dan, thank you for taking this journey with me. I feel like it's not the end of the show.
No, we got stuff.
But it's been great. It's been great. I've been gifted with a good friend, a good co-host, a good show that I love, people coming out of the woodwork, other fans and other communities. I got to talk to Mark Frost, Dan. I never in my life thought I would talk to Mark Frost, who is a very nice fella. So that's coming next week. So while this is part 18, we're not done talking about Twin Peaks.
I got to listen to Eric's conversation with Mr. Frost, and folks, get ready. It's some good stuff. Just seemed like the nicest conversation. This guy just seems, I've seen him in clips in other interviews. He's out and about doing stuff right now. But this conversation was just lovely. I'm a little biased. I like the interviewer a lot, but this was great, folks. You're going to really, really enjoy that. So stick around for that coming up soon.
Yeah, that's coming up. Hopefully, some other. I got my hands in people's pockets. That sounds wrong. I've got the irons out.
You got irons in their pockets.
I got the iron. That sounds also dangerous. Like there's always a hint of a threat when you've got your irons out. But yes, I'm hoping to talk to more members of the cast. People. Hey, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, hey, I worked on Twin Peaks, you could let me know and we will talk. And speaking of talking, Dan,
Eric.
Let's talk about a very short, wonderful film made about a person in Twin Peaks. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Horst.
I'm an indigenous artist. What I do is a lot of different things. The older I get, I don't do a lot of things, which I kind of like too, you know.
This filmmaker, Marks, she was super kind. She reached out to me. She sent me the link. It's officially available on PBS. I'm going to include the YouTube link.
You can watch it on the PBS app. That's where I watched it. It was fantastic, Eric.
Yeah. So she wrote, just started listening to Meanwhile. It's fantastic. Thanks for making it. I'm writing to let you know the short PBS doc I made on Michael Horst that I think you will like, and you are correct. I did like it very much. It's like a beautiful, intimate look at Michael Horst as an artist and as a person. It's excellent, and I think it's 14 minutes. It's not a big time commitment, but it's got a lot of weight for the time.
It was great to see the different media that he works in. I'd seen his drawings. We talked about this. I didn't really know this, honestly, until we discussed the Nez Perce map that he drew, but then seeing a bunch of his other work, then seeing the jewelry that he made, and then talking about his career in film and television, everything it also just seems like such a really cool guy on top of everything else. Yeah, what a great doc.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I would recommend checking out her other material as well. So it is themarksmystique.com. It is that's her website. There's other projects. I believe, and I hope I'm allowed to say this, that maybe doing other projects with Mr. Michael Horst. There was nothing in the email that said I couldn't say that. So if that was hidden, maybe I'll reach out and make sure that I can say that before we release the episode. But worth your time. Check the show notes. And speaking of checking things, let's check your expectations in the aisle, because we're going into part 18. Dan, this is What Is Your Name? This released on September 3rd, 2017, alongside part 17. Very much reminded me of when part 28 and 29 released on the same day of the original series. They feel like two different, very much like different worlds as well, back to back. Like you can feel the shift that happens in part 18 in the same way that you could really feel it with 29 off 28. So unless you have something else, Dan, I'm down with getting into it.
Let's get into that Black Lodge, Eric.
Is it you? Is it really you?
Yes. It's really me, Diane. Is it really you?
Yes.
In the Black Lodge, Dan, the doppelganger meets his end. Meanwhile, Mike creates another Dougie, just in time for the holidays.
Get yours quick. This was an amazing shot to open with. Mr. C sitting there in the chair, completely still and on fire. What an amazing image this is. Plus, noting that the doppelganger now has the milky white eyes. We've seen Mr. C throughout all of this with the pitch black snake eyes. Now he's got those white ghosty eyes that we saw in the doppelganger in episode 29. So
yeah, it's like you can see like the darkness also swirling around him in the fire.
Yeah.
And I wondered, like, is the darkness leaving his body and burning up, and that's why you can see those clear eyes coming through. It's very striking.
And all the snake-eyed juice came out. Yeah, it was such an amazing image. And just how he's just still sitting there the entire time is great. Then we get Mike taking the orb and the piece of Cooper's hair. Man, Cooper ripped out a ton of hair, by the way. I didn't realize there was that much. But
you need a lot for that process, yeah.
It's well known. You have to check the manual. You need a certain amount. But he must have yanked out a ton to give to Mike. I loved him taking the orb and touching them together like he's making a circuit connect. It was really cool. And
yeah, it's like 3 quick bursts and a long burst. And I was like, is that Morse code for something? Or like, I couldn't find anything. Okay. Other than a couple of like boating sites where they're like, oh yeah, it means you're backing up and trying to tell someone. I don't think it's that. It was neat though. It was neat. It was like starting an engine.
Yeah, it was really cool. And hearing him, the incantation of electricity is really cool. They get the orb kind of bouncing around, eating up the hair, almost like absorbing it into it. Really cool shot. I love, again, all the effect shots with the orb are so interesting because they seem like just the amount of right, but also like, I don't know, not overdone. It's very cool. Like we see the orb like growing up through the Cooper suit and expanding, like his head comes out of it. Then the whole thing expands. It sounds like a bubble or a balloon expanding. Like Dougie takes that like kind of first breath of life. So the sound effect with the inhaling of the balloon is really cool. And they get Dougie's voice, and it's like Dougie from part 3. Kyle MacLachlan got to like actually do that Dougie character again that we only got to see for like 5 minutes.
Well, I don't know. See, I didn't take that at all. I actually got the opposite of that. So you're talking about, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're talking about the original Dougie pre-Cooper Dougie.
It was closer to that than the Dougie. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
I have a completely different take in that he is like, there's no corruption visible. Like if you remember when that Dougie died, there was all the black stuff. The original Dougie, when he gets put into the lodge, is like,
I feel funny.
This Dougie that's made of pure Cooper energy is full of wonder.
Where am I?
Where am I? Like he's looking around. And so I got a different read on him. It felt like this is like the purest form of Cooper because it's made from the hair of Cooper as opposed to the hair of the doppelganger.
I totally get that. To me, it was just that the voice did not sound like Cooper's voice. And it didn't sound like the Cooper Dougie that we've seen. So to me, the first thing that came to mind was there's more, and it almost kind of sounded like it had a slight twang to it, but maybe that's fine. I mean, obviously, I think you're right. This is the pure version coming from Cooper. So
Yeah. I just saw the wonder, and we're going to start counting the number of characters that that Kyle MacLachlan is playing. And so I would add this as another
character.
This is a Cooper Dougie, I guess, as opposed to the Cooper Dougie, because he's a little bit more Dougie than Cooper.
You said it.
So let's go over to the Jones home. So we jump right over to the Jones home, and Dougie is going to walk through that red door.
Yeah, this is great too. The camera moves through this, just the almost floaty camera push into the door, and then we're inside the Jones house. And Janie E goes to answer the door, the way the camera comes up, and Sonny Jim coming running to him. Oh my God, Dougie, and the hug. And this part actually is more like what you were just saying, because he only says the single word home. And he says it more like the Cooper Dougie that we've seen before than the new Dougie. Anyway, it was just great. That smile of like actually being home. They're all so happy. This fulfillment of this dream. And Cooper delivered, man. He said he would be back, and he didn't lie. It just wasn't maybe exactly what Janie had in mind, but I think she's going to be very happy with this new model.
Yeah. What I talked about last week, I talked about home and the concept of home, and home being like a dream. Like, normally I want to spend more time at home. It's this dream of Twin Peaks, and Cooper is trying to take Laura home because he's trying to take her to the White Lodge, just like Dream World. And then hear him saying home. This is literally the dream house where they're all inside a dream. It's bright, it's sunny. I still believe this is a family of tulpas, and God bless them. So let's jump over then, Dan, to the woods, where we're going to return to the moment when Cooper loses Laura.
Yeah, I didn't go and double check. Is this the exact same shots? Because it really felt to me this time watching it in this part. The number of times Cooper turns around to check on Laura really seems like I'm just catching it more, or maybe it is the exact same.
I think you're just catching more. I think it's the same amount. There's we're going to watch a lot of things more than once in this episode.
Yeah, and especially in the next part that we're going to talk about. So I didn't know how much of this was exactly the same or recreated, but I really noticed that, and I really felt that moment whenever the sound cuts out. I mean, I obviously did the first time we talked about part 17, but here, just hearing that whenever we hear the scratchy, listen to the sound, turning the key sound effect. It's just so powerful here. And now we get that look on Cooper's face that we saw at the end of the scene in part 17. And it's kind of got this look on his face, like I'm reading it as he's like, what did I do wrong? Or how could this be? Like, he had this plan. It was working perfectly. He met Laura. He's taking her through the forest. And then why is she not there? Why is she getting ripped away again? So it's just to me, like, I did everything right. What could I have what could have gone wrong? But I don't know. This is a scene we've already seen before, but do you catch anything new in it whenever you see it this time?
Well, I mean, we talked about the CGI being the thing that I don't like about. I mentioned there's only a couple things that sort of take me out of it, and it's the CGI face. Now, in this, it's much better because it's almost all, I think it's all practical. So it's Cheryl Lee with like makeup. She's mostly in shadow and darkness. So because there's no line, she doesn't have any of that. We're not seeing her dialogue.
Right.
So they don't have to do that little bit that they do with the face. So I appreciated that. But it's an impressive effort regardless. The scream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we hear the scream. It's that same scream from part 2 when she was torn back in the story, which is exactly where we're going to go now. So we're going to be taking right back to that moment because back in the Red Room, is it future or is it past? Cooper visits the arm. Laura is torn away and Leland tells him to find Laura.
Yeah, so this, like you just mentioned, we get to see a bunch of stuff. We've already seen it before, but in a slightly different order in different ways. So here, this is almost the same as part 2, except the way things cut together. So we get probably the exact same footage reused again, but in part 2, we have Mike saying to him, is it future, is it past? And then after that, he says, someone is here, and we get everything with Laura. Then he disappears.
We see this twice in part 2.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's true.
Right? So the first time, part 2, Mike asks as if future is past. Then he says, someone is here, like you're saying. We see Laura, that whole thing. She's ripped out. Am I dead yet I live? All that stuff. I want to talk about that later. But then we go back to the same moment. Is it future and past? And that's when it's similar to this almost exactly.
So it's more like that one than the first one through.
Yeah. Then you see the same footage of Mike waving him forward, the same footage of them walking down the hallway in the same opening arm line.
So the major difference here, that is the
missing Laura and the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, because we get the same pieces put together, but the thing that is so different was we get Cooper looking at the empty chair where Laura would have been the first time we see this. So we get a long shot sitting and looking in the second chair. That's why I kind of thought it was more like the first time through, because he says someone is here and then Laura appears. He says someone is here, disappears, and no one is there in the chair. Doesn't really matter, but that's
No, that's it. Yeah.
That moment of just being like, now things are different. What is happening here? And things change even further later on. But that moment of this is not exactly the same thing, and the look on Cooper's face too.
And I think that for me, he expects her to be there because his whole plan of pulling her out of the story was to put her in the White Lodge and like save her, even though she's already done that for herself in Fire Walk with Me. But he's taking it upon himself to do that. And she's supposed to be here. This is his idea of home. Because when he says, I'm taking you home, you know, originally, is he taking her back to Leland's house where this horrible abuse is going on? No, he expects her to be here and she's not.
Yeah. And then he does follow Mike and we go see the arm. And this is also a different piece too. So we get this repetition of what we saw with Audrey previously. So the arm says, is this the story of the little girl who lived down the lane? Is it? And we talked in the previous episode about the story, about the movie. But I still don't know exactly why we keep calling back to that particular story throughout this, other than Laura being the girl who is, you know, survivor of abuse. But how it connects directly to the movie that we've discussed, I don't still see all the symbols.
But you haven't seen the film, right? Like,
no, I still haven't seen it.
Right. So
and I never will. That's my promise to you.
Oh, it's a great film. I mentioned it last time, like the podcast, The Full Blossom of the Evening. I would definitely recommend checking it out. They have a great episode on that film, on how they tie this movie to Audrey especially.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to spoil the movie, but a very general idea of the movie is about a father who is, I guess, is this a spoiler? I don't know.
We talked about it in the Audrey episode.
I don't know if I spoiled everything about the movie, but the father dies, right? So before he dies, he sets his daughter up to live like isolated from everything. So he gives her sort of money. She doesn't go to school. He kind of protects her, tries to protect her from the world, so to speak. Because in his head, I think he thinks he's doing her a favor and he's saving her. So I would say recommend listening to their podcast. Thing that they didn't talk about that I take from it is this is Cooper. This is the same thing Cooper's doing. Cooper's robbing Laura of her agency. He's pulling her out of the story in an attempt to keep her isolated away from all the threats, but it actually has a worse effect. It's actually going to create all these other problems because he's not thinking that she's a real person who has her own decisions and things to make. He's like, I know better for you. I'll do all this stuff. I'll literally isolate you, protect you from the dangers of the world. But by doing that, he's exposing her to worse things. Now, you could say the same thing about Audrey as well. I mean, you think about Audrey being an isolated person. I mean, how many people was Audrey friends with that we saw? You know, she's really on her own. She's hanging around, looking in the walls of the Great Northern. She's a very isolated person. Her only real friend that we're shown is Cooper. So, but yeah, check out. I'm not going to repeat any of their ideas, obviously, because you should listen to that. But that's what I get from Little Girl. The little girl lives down the lane.
That's terrific. I mean, thank you. That really kind of puts things together. It makes me think, I don't know if you've recommended this article to me or if I just came across it, an article titled, Who Do You Think That Is There? Twin Peaks and the Mahayana Buddhism. Did you talk about them?
Oh, that was a listener. Yeah, we talked about that on the show.
Great article, by the way. So we should, if we didn't already in previous show notes, drop it again.
We
because
did.
It really does talk about, Cooper. He doesn't use these terms, but the kind of savior complex that Cooper has, and whether he's not intrinsically motivated to do good, he's trying to help Laura, not for the sake of helping humanity or her, but more for himself, as a theory about how to look through this. And I think that's really interesting in this context as well. But now we flash back again to Laura whispering before she gets ripped out, whispering in Cooper's ear. One slight change here in part 2, when she's whispering, Cooper says, huh. More like a downward statement. This time in part 18, it's a question. It's, huh. Like, I didn't do it right. Huh? Yeah, that's it. It's much more of a question in this way. So just very slight difference between those two versions. Not know exactly what to make of that, but I think it's pretty cool. And the sound of her scream and the reaction is a little bit compressed, but a little bit different than it was in part 2 as well.
Yeah, so with part 2, especially with the whisper, I talked about it in part 2, but I guess I'll talk about it again here. We see this dream many, many times. So if you remember in episode 2, when Cooper has that initial dream, he meets Laura in the red room, and she whispers the name of the killer in his ear.
Laura kissed me, and she whispered the name of the killer in my ear. Who was it? I don't remember.
That's, to me, when she's whispering in part 2, that first time that you're hearing it. And then we hear it as an audience in 16.
My father killed me.
She's torn out of the show. The show is changed. And here we're getting a repeat of that, which we'll touch on, I guess, at the end. But it is this fuel of this mystery that allows Laura to be, am I dead, yet I live? Even though Laura has died, she lives on forever in this world of mystery, in this world of not knowing. It's the engine that you can't take out of the story, or else the story will completely break. In part 2, at that point, after she's torn away, the wind blows the curtains up, and then we see the white horse as we move past it, as we're taken back. So that's something to write down in your diary for now. The concept of it is also amazing. Because these are the same scenes. These are literally the same footage.
Mm-hmm.
You can play them if you're a lunatic and you're having multiple tabs open with the scenes playing. Dan's raising his hand, yes.
I had it on my phone and on the TV, 2 separate ones go at the same time. It was great.
Is it future or is it past? In part 2, were we watching part 18?
Right.
In part 18, are we watching part 2? You also don't know at which point this time, time doesn't really exist in this outside world, and I think that's the point of it. But the fact that he's asked, is it future, is it past, and you're seeing the same thing, and at one point it is the future and the past, and the other point it's the future and the past, is just such a very, very, very cool concept that I love.
From the moment of Laura getting ripped out in this version of time that we're seeing, and Cooper's reaction as he kind of looks back down again, we get a jump cut, which is unusual in this. But anyway, get a jump cut of Cooper coming into the room where Leland is sitting, where he says, find Laura. What's really interesting about this is everything we've seen that's been reused has been pretty much the exact same footage again. This time it's not. It's reversed. For example, in part 18, Cooper enters from Leland's left and the camera is positioned on our right-hand side. So the shots are on the opposite sides, but it's not literally just the film is reversed, because Cooper's also shot from the opposite angle, but his FBI badge is still, or pin is still on the same lapel part. So it's cool to both, he is literally using shot for shot again, and then other times he's just restaging the shots to be exact mirror images of each other. To go over the top like that in terms of the effort to make these things very subtly different is beautiful. Just that craft to put this together is so great.
If you follow that train of thought, if it is a mirror or a flip, in the part 2, he goes down the hallway and he cannot get through the door. And then he goes back and he sees Leland. And then in this, he sees Leland and then he has no problem going through that door. So it's like a mirror of itself, but in this time he can actually get through.
And the way that he actually controls the curtain with his hand to make it open is so great. Like, he is the magician now. He is like able to understand how to manipulate this universe and open the doorway so he can leave. It's just a great evolution of that.
Much more aware, much more control.
It's like it almost feels something akin to like a lucid dream, and that moment of being able to like, oh, I know how this works. I can make these things happen. He's waking up in a sense here.
And if this is to follow the superimposed Cooper head, like, he is hyper aware now of all the machinations of this dream world. So at this point now he can go forward and he just hand waves that thing and pops right back out in Glastonbury Grove where Diane is waiting.
This moment between the two of them, well, first of all, getting to see him in Glastonbury Grove with the red curtains behind is just a great moment for us as viewers. Going to revisit that entire scene. But then Cooper and Diane coming together and her being excited, but then also cautious. Is it you? Is it really you? It's just a great moment. Yes, it's really me, Diane. Is it really you? It's great. The two of them just smiling as the curtain fades. It's just a short scene, but I love this moment for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have decided to leave Twin Peaks, quite literally leave Twin Peaks. One thing I want to note is, so Diane, we kind of glossed over this, or I didn't mention this previously. You know, her red hair, she's very similar to a person that I love, Marjorie Cameron. I had talked about her when we did The Secret History, and a listener had left a comment, or on YouTube, I think, that said, Diane's black and white nails and Jack Parsons' wife hairdo from the Kenneth Anger. It's not what it seems, Scarlet Woman trope and magic. Now, Jack Parsons' wife, I would say Jack Parsons is Marjorie Cameron's husband. No, Jack Parsons is cool too, but I love Marjorie Cameron. She was an artist and occultist. If you remember, we talked about her a little bit for The Secret History.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Parsons was a scientist. His company, Jet Propulsion Labs, got very heavily involved in the occult, and Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard stole his first wife. Like, he has a crazy story. He ended up blowing himself up. Very, very smart, very interesting man. Marjorie Cameron is even more fascinating. And in The Secret History, Jack Parsons, well, actually in real life, they supposedly were trying to do this thing called Babylon Working, which was trying to summon this goddess.
That's where they tested the bomb.
Yes. Such a fertile ground for the working.
Pardon? What's the working?
The ritual, the working of Babylon, calling forth the elemental.
Could you elaborate on that, Jack? Car horn blares. I look outside where an old Buick Roadster convertible is pulled up. A striking Technicolor redhead is behind the wheel. Jack snaps back to himself out of his dreamy reverie, looks at his watch and smiles.
Sorry, that's the wife.
And this Babylon, which is based off like the Horror of Babylon, was seen as this scarlet woman with red hair. And she's become something of a goddess in Thelema, which was Aleister Crowley's religion. She kind of looked like that. She's got this red hair. Diane has this red hair. We talk about the atomic bomb explosion, about opening a portal. Within The Secret History, they're talking about Moonchild and this marriage of, you could say, Judy is part of this goddess that they're summoning, and you could look at the demon as Bob, and if the two of them mated, if they had a child, and all of this stuff you can read into it. I didn't include a lot of that stuff because I don't know if it doesn't always line up exactly with how I see things, but I love Marjorie Cameron. It's fascinating stuff. And I actually asked Mark Frost, I was like, oh, you should do a TV show about Marjorie Cameron. I guess someone else has, so I have to look up and see that thing, see if it exists.
He said someone did something on Jack Parsons, which I kind of remember but didn't see, but not on Marjorie. She'd be amazing. I mean, just focus on her.
He got her into the occult and everything, so if there is a show about him, she's in it, and if not, it should get canceled.
Yeah.
But it's something to think about. Like, did they open up this portal that atomic bomb, and that's where the mother came from, and all of this stuff? And do you see that in Diane with the red hair and everything? I don't myself, but it's certainly a striking visual. If you look up, and also I just posted a picture of Marjorie Cameron's art today called The Black Egg, and it's like, she's holding a black egg. Bob arrives in a black egg, so do with that what you will. Also, while we're recommending things, Night Tide by Curtis Harrington stars Dennis Hopper. She's in it. It's a great horror movie. Also, The Wormwood Star that Harrington mentioned. I've already posted a link. I posted a link to this. People know I like this woman, so you're just staring at me like I'm crazy.
No, I was looking to see what it was. Strange Angel must be the show. I thought Mark Frost said it was a movie, but Strange Angel, 2018 to 19. 2-season television series produced by Ridley Scott for CBS. Weird. Okay, anyway.
I really like Part 18. I don't know where you're going to land on Part 18. It has a different vibe. It starts right here with this conversation.
Is it you? Is it really you?
Yes. It's really me, Diane.
I really dig it. I like where we're going. I like the cut of their jib. The whole thing is going to be great. Whether or not you think Diane is a result of a conjuring, whether Mother's a result of this kind of conjuring, that's up to you. But let's drive 430 miles, Dan, through the desert, and let's contemplate what will happen when we pass over.
Well, 430 miles. We got a callback finally from the fireman.
Remember 430. Richard Stanley. 2 hours worth done.
And in 17, we hear that Cooper had said, I'd left a message. If I disappear like the others, do everything you can to find me. I'm trying to kill with 2 birds with 1 stone. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Pretty important through this.
Yeah, right. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I want yours.
I guess I've. Oh yeah. I mean, I'll reiterate some of the stuff that I've said. Like, I do see it as kind of one soul with multiple people. When you think about what's going to happen with them as they go from one story into another story, it's still the same stone, but there's multiple characters. There's still the same Laura. There's Carrie Page. There's Laura Palmer, but it's still the same stone. Now, what he tells Gordon is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And you can also say, okay, well, is it pulling Laura out of the story creates a timeline that's going to collapse because she's not in it, and that's the timeline in which Laura Palmer's murder was taken to the way we know it as a show, trapping Judy inside. So, okay, I can save Laura and at the same time kill or trap Judy. You could look at it like that. Or is it that, we're going to be able to kill Bob and Judy? That's how we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm not sure. The part that feels right to me is the soul, these stones, these orbs, whatever, are what's inside of us, and there could be multiple birds or multiple vessels. We see that with the owls are not what they seem. They are vessels for entities that we've seen since the beginning.
The owls are not what they seem.
But that whole thing, the 430, Richard and Linda, the 2 birds with 1 stone, is the path to Judy, is how we find Judy, and is how we leave the story, which we're going to be doing now. This whole thing is going to take us out and in.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about trying to figure out how I think about the 2 birds, 1 stone. Obviously, I think we found a bit more of a literalist in a lot of this case. So what is the one action that's being taken that can have an outcome that affects multiple things or 2 things? Or I love your interpretation. I think, different points of view are really helpful, but I still don't know exactly how I feel about it. Maybe by the 3rd or 4th watching through of all of Twin Peaks, I'll have a better idea. But what I can enjoy right now is this shot of them coming through over the highway in this old vehicle. I couldn't check what the make of it was, but it kind of had those bench seats in it. Definitely felt like an older beat down vehicle. Pretty cool shot of them coming through and looking over the vista and the number of transmission lines and all those towers. It felt surreal. Like, I'm sure that was an actual place.
Yeah, and they pop up too. They pop up, which is neat. The first time they're driving, there's nothing.
Oh, really?
It's just like you're in an empty desert. And then the next time they see it, they're freaking everywhere.
I honestly I feel like a dum-dum. I did not notice that. I guess I was just too much like looking at the 2 of them and the surroundings and didn't take it in. But whenever you see how many there are. It's incredible.
But we're also driving. You could read it as we're driving a huge distance through the desert from California towards where Texas is.
Yeah.
So that when you see no power lines, it's not that power lines are just popping up, although we've seen
Either
that
way,
many times
yeah.
in Return. It could just be, we've been driving for 8 hours and now we're in a totally different place which has power lines. But yeah, they're only in that second shot when we get near the end, which is very exciting.
And it's so cool because you can already hear the buzzing of electricity in the air.
You don't know what it's going to be like once we...
I know that. We're at that point now. I can feel it.
You don't know what it's going to be like when we do. It really feels like Diane has a lot of hesitation through all this. And it isn't until the end then she kind of gets her courage to say, after they kiss, right, that they're going to go. So, I mean, I feel very similarly to Diane, I guess, too. It's like, are they really ready to take this action? It's great to see that there is not this like predestiny, like she's just like definitely going to be, sure, whatever you say, Coop, we're just going to go do it. She's really concerned about this, but in the end, trust that this is the thing that they need to do.
And he's starting to change already before they even get past the edge. Yeah, I mean, she's very nervous about, like, are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, yeah. And I love his line, man. Oh, my God. When he's like, we're at that point now, I can feel it. Like,
yeah.
He says, I know that when we're near the end. Like, they're right at that threshold, right where Audrey was at that moment. Like, are we going to go back into this world of Twin Peaks, or are we going to leave and go someplace wonderful, new, and maybe a little bit scary? But yeah, for me, she's saying, like, are you sure you want to leave? Like, we don't know who will be. And you think about Stephen and Gersten when they're outside the tree, and he's thinking, like, if I kill myself, like, where will I be? Like,
where will I be? Will I be with the rhinoceros?
Like, who will I be? Audrey saying, who will I be?
Well, I'm not sure who I am, but I'm not me.
This identity, this is where it really feeds into the stone of we're going to become other people, but how will we even react to each other? Will we even know each other? How will we even feel about each other? Like, they're nearing the very edge of this world and this story for me. And it's very exciting. And he kind of ignores her, like he's pushing her to the very edge. She does succumb and gives and sort of gives into it. But it's a series of Cooper grabbing people and pulling them. We're not asking, where are we going? We're going home. Like, I know what I'm doing. This is the way to do it. But he can't, he's got a lot of hubris. He's flying a little too close to the sun here, I think.
I think hubris is absolutely the thing to think about through all of these last parts especially, but a great way to see Cooper through all of this. You mentioned, I'm interested in what you had said, that you feel like Cooper's already changing on the threshold, that you can see a difference in him already.
Yeah, a little bit. And it's going to be obviously more severe on the other side of this. But yeah, I feel like, I mean, once we cross over, it could be also different. Like, he's still Cooper, but the way he's so like caught up in his own idea that he feels a little bit like it's he's so he can feel it. He says, I can feel it. So I feel like that's the sign of this new thing manifesting into what I'll start referring to as Richard later. But yeah, that's what I think is going on.
That's interesting. So I didn't really see him as changing just yet. And honestly, in the next moment, whenever everything changes, I didn't really know until we kept going further how much had changed instantly or how much was going to change over time. But I didn't really see Cooper changing at this moment, other than to see how excited he was when he gets out of the car and he's like feeling the air, almost like NATO, kind of like feeling the air, hearing the buzz. He checks his watch. I don't know, because we talk about all these other portals needing to be a specific place at a specific time, but we don't get any reference to that here. But he does check his watch.
No, assume it's like 2:53.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say it's probably 2:53.
Why wouldn't it be?
2:53. Yeah, it's 2:53, 430 miles, which is a 7. As you know, it's a 7. But yeah, that line also, once we cross, it can be all different. That's when Cooper asks for the kiss.
Kiss me. Once we cross, it could all be different.
And it's like to say, let us remember who we are right now, still in this story, before we leave, and it's very, very exciting. Yeah, I don't think he's completely changed.
No, I got you.
But I feel like you can feel it coming at, and he says that I can feel we're like the vibrations, the electricity's humming.
Yep, the drugs are kicking in. Yeah, but then we get him slowly rolling the car forward. So they were almost at 430 miles exactly, and they keep rolling and rolling, and then that scene of like the that goes from day to night, back and forth, the flashing inside the car and outside the car. What a great couple of moments of the visuals through this. And then, boom, everything is different. It's night.
Yep. And then we're just driving in silence until we get to that motel where they're going to spend the night.
Want to jump right into it here? Because it's almost like they get rocketed down the street in the darkness, and then kind of we catch up to them as they're
moving fast,
really quickly,
absolutely.
and then we're.
It's great first person perspective. It's just,
and we get so much of that throughout this, throughout the return. This point of view shot driving down a dark highway at night with just headlights. So we saw that with Mr. C so many times. Now we see it with Cooper and Diane. They're still sitting in the car in the same kind of positions, silent this whole time, driving. And it's almost a full minute of silent driving in the night. We get so much of that in this part as well.
For a show that spent so much time talking about cars, referencing cars that are old and need work, new cars, like cars.
There were cars everywhere.
We spend a lot of time in cars in this episode. We go for a lot of rides. This is not the only ride we're going to have in this episode.
They'd give 2 rides.
Yeah. They make this really slow. The pacing as well. And I do remember the feeling watching this the first time when it originally aired of like looking at the clock.
At this point?
Yeah. Well, throughout this episode especially, but yes, in this point of being like, we only have so much time left. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's just.
Yeah. I don't remember that for this. Absolutely at the end.
Yeah.
The drive back with Carrie Page.
Maybe I'm more remembering with Carrie Page for sure, because that is much later towards the end. But yeah, the amount of time that we're spent being here, being in this vibe, just experiencing it without any action happening is really interesting to see when we just have a finite amount of time left with these characters. So they arrive at this motel in the desert with a gravel parking lot, and they pull up in front of a motel door. Of course, it's room number 7.
Yeah, they got it. That's available. 7's available.
Why wouldn't you get a 7? It's great.
430.
So tell me what you make of this moment. So Cooper goes in to get the motel room. Diane's left in the car. No one around, in complete darkness, and then a woman who looks like Diane steps out from behind the pillar there in front, and there's no reaction on Diane's face, no fear or anything, not even recognition. But she sees this woman. This woman makes Diane also looks back at her and makes no reference. It's such an interesting scene as a moment, and is it this moment of her changing? Is this moment of her becoming Linda? Is it, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's her becoming Linda, him becoming Richard, them assuming the, it's the one stone that's becoming this other person. I think Richard and Linda are a couple that are having an affair, and they're doing it in this hotel. That's been going on. And so at this point, it also could be this is the identity of this body before she's going to sort of inhabit its role in this particular story that she's seeing here. But it's just like, you think about Laura looking at herself. You think about Gordon Cole turning around and seeing himself. And here she is seeing herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I take it as like them really becoming her becoming this other person, him becoming this other person. And like, I don't know if I should just jump into the room or if you want to talk a bit more, but like.
No, yeah, let's get into the room, because what I find that I want to talk about is how is this change happening over what period of time? Because clearly by the time the next scene starts and we wake up in the morning, things have changed. But how do you see this happening throughout this scene? I think is really interesting. So yeah, let's go into the room.
Yeah, well, first off, the light bothers him.
Yes, yeah.
He calls her Diane, yes. But it's not really Cooper. Like, he's very forceful. He's strange.
What do we do now?
You come over here to me.
It's not the nice Cooper that we're used to. I'm going to refer to Cooper at this point as Richard because I think he's become Richard. He still has the soul of Cooper, but his role and form are different. He is Richard now. He is kind of, if Cooper is this positive force and Mr. C is this negative force, Richard is this combination of positive and negative that we all are.
I was going to say more like an actual person than an archetype.
Yes, because we're slowly leaving the world of a story and into what is reality, although still wrapped in a story. Where this is still a story, it still has structure. I mean, we haven't when we're finally able to break out of the story we're in, because we're probably also in the same kind of story. But yes, I feel like he is a culmination of Mr. C and Cooper in this new form. But he's very forceful. He's very strange. Kyle, I think he's played 6 parts. I think he's played Cooper. He's played Mr. C. He's played Dougie Jones. He's played Dougie Cooper. He's playing Richard here. And as I mentioned before, Cooper Dougie. I haven't figured out what that is, but it's the new
and improved
Dougie that is now with Janie E., which is a pretty impressive thing.
Yeah.
And again, it's like I don't want the light. It's a combination of dark and light. Seems a little bit more dark as they do what I think is some form of sex magic, which feeds into the whole Aleister Crowley thing. This is part, I think, of the ritual of really leaving the world or leaving the story or truly becoming Richard and Linda. I think they are partially Richard and Linda. And then as they have sex, it is this opening of this portal that's going to lead us outside of the story. And it's a complete transformation. And the song that's playing is The Platters, right, that we heard in part 8 when the woodsman arrived.
When the twilight is gone, and no songbirds are singing,
and they took over the radio station. This dark, ominous music is playing after that. He stares at her. You know, there's no blinking. She looks up. She can't stand his stare. Like at that point when she can't take even looking at him and she's covering her face, it's because she's at that point completely changed into Linda, from Diane to Linda. And Cooper is also changed to Richard. But like Philip Jeffries said of Gordon Cole, he remembers both timelines.
say hello to Gordon if you see him. He'll remember the unofficial version.
So he is still able to remember the world of the old Cooper as well as the world of the new Cooper. But this sex scene is such a beautiful parallel and mirror to the Janie E. Dougie sex scene.
Oh, yes.
Like, one is a complete fantasy. Everything is perfect. All parties properly satisfied and joyous. Yeah. We are in this beautiful house. Soft light is coming in and lighting them. And here we have this like dimly lit, dingy motel. The characters are emotionally disconnected. They're literally becoming other people. That's how far apart they are. Like the tulpa versions of ourselves versus the real selves. And at both Janie E. and Diane look up as well. They both look up. Janie E. in joy, Diane in despair.
Yeah.
And Cooper wakes up alone, or Richard wakes up alone, and Janie E. and Dougie are holding each other in love at the end of that scene. But it's a powerful, powerful sex scene.
I think that's all really interesting. The fact, though, that Cooper reads the note from Diane in the morning in the next scene from Linda to Richard and doesn't know who Richard is, doesn't feel this recognition of that. I see definitely Diane becoming Linda throughout the sex scene as she's looking up, as she's in this almost agony. It's such a beautiful, despairing shot, though. So beautifully filmed. The angle is gorgeous. The composition, she's stunning in that moment. And it's just so full of raw emotion. It's just a beautiful scene. It's so distressing as well. And I see her for sure putting her hands over his face. I mean, she even says in the note, like, I don't recognize you anymore. But like, that's a more literal version of like, she is pushing away from this, maybe trying not to become this at the same time as well, but feels this change coming on. The way that Cooper is, or whoever he is not a different person. Whereas Diane actually becomes Linda and leaves. Like, she is now off on her own story, is a completely different person. Cooper has never done that throughout all this. He is just carrying both of these personalities with him, is kind of, I guess, where I'm at the moment. So going back again, when they come into the room, she turns the light on. He says, turn off the light. And Diane says, what do we do now? And it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like, what should we do? It was like, tell me the next thing that is supposed to happen. Like, what do we do now? What is the next thing we're supposed to do? You come over here to me, Diane. So is he still asserting that she is this person, even though he knows that this is changing or feels that it's all slipping away? I don't know. Just all this scene is very interesting. And it definitely, this is another one. It's going to take 3 or 4 more viewings. I'll totally have an opinion about what I think. But I get your point. I just feel like, for me at the moment, it feels like the change is much more slow and it never fully happens in the way that I do think that it does for Diane, where she completely goes away.
Imagine that you get a script and you were Jimmy when you worked at a gas station. And now all of a sudden you're living the life of Jimmy in this constructed fake world, but you're Jimmy. You're still Dan. You're still aware of the outside world, where your agent sent you the script and you got all the stuff and you knew that you were sort of in a story or whatever. But you're aware also that you are Jimmy and that you have things. And in that sense, he's Richard.
I think, let's keep going, because I think when we get to the diner scene, I think I have more to poke at with this. So let's keep going if you don't mind. We'll come back to it because I think there's more.
Okay. Yeah. So the next, you talked a little bit about it already. We're going to wake up the next day. He's going to get that note.
Dear Richard. Richard, when you read this, I'll be gone. Please don't try to find me. I don't recognize you anymore. Sorry, whatever it was we had together is over. Linda.
So he leaves the motel and he's going to drive through town.
Yeah, there is a moment here. I don't know if there's anything to it, but after the Mr. C being interrogated by Gordon and the Yeri Very moment, when he says, she's reading the note, I don't recognize you anymore, he says something, whatever it was we had together is over.
Sorry, whatever it was we had together is over.
There's a syllable or two of something that isn't in the transcript, and I can't understand what he's saying there. And the reason I feel like, is it important, is because back when in previous episode, when Mr. C is being interviewed by Gordon Cole, I missed when he said very backwards, Yevry very. So I'm like, am I missing something here because there's something important? I kept playing it. I can't tell what he's saying if there's anything there. And it could absolutely be nothing, but I don't know if he was just stumbling over his word or if I'm mishearing something. But I kept playing it back on that moment, and it felt like there was another word there.
I mean, it didn't jump out at me, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Make of that what you will, or nothing at all. What's great here is when he leaves the room, different motel entirely, different location.
Just this one has 2 stories.
2 stories. It's not. It's a asphalt parking lot. Car's not in the same place. It's a different car.
No, it's not even remotely the same anything.
Nothing is out of the ordinary for him. So to your point of he is becoming this other person, it's like if he's not thinking about it, he is this other person, but he's also can be in control and be Cooper, I guess, is kind of how I'm seeing it.
He's like an archetype of a detective.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting way.
Right. Story to story, he's always solving a crime. And Laura Palmer, Carrie Page, is an archetype of a girl in trouble kind of thing that's seen story to story.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what she is in this one, too.
There's no looking around, hey, where's my car? Hey, where am I? Just walks right up to it. The key is in his pocket. He knows it's there. He knows it's going to unlock that car, gets in it. And that is a very, to your point of an archetype, this is a very FBI coded car. If you saw this on the street, you would think that's the feds.
Yep.
And then we just take a little drive in Odessa, Texas.
Yeah. So it's great, that scene when he's driving and we pass the Odessa, Texas sign. It says population 99,000. It's just like Cooper driving into Twin Peaks. And when he finds Judy. Now, Odessa, Texas was named after Odessa in what was the Russian Empire, but is now Ukraine, a port city on the Black Sea. Laura's body was found on the shore of Black Lake. So it's interesting that he's going to find her here in Odessa.
To me, I was thinking of the connection to the Odyssey. Just this journey, the siren song, the entire hero's journey as well.
All right, well, it's that time again. It's halfway through our final episode of Twin Peaks: The Return. We're here to thank some wonderful people. Dan, why don't you start us out with a couple of rounds of Chuck Suffle for the boys?
I'd be happy to. Thank you very much to Chuck Suffle, Gregory Flanagan, Don Adamo, Banjo Track, Eric Knopp, Charlie Tapper, Jake Giacello, Matthew Fuller, David Melito, Daryl Deason, Dana Gould, Jeff, Henrik E., concluding remarks, Brian Johnson, and Mir Katz.
Of course, there's Raga Raven, Evan Fitz, Hazel Haywood. Now, Hazel's the one that shared that link that you were interested in. Ivan, William Schaefer, Jordan Carver, Matt W., Nick Webb, Kalen Best Lawrence, He Who Is Clem Fandango, a.k.a. Luke P., Art Hill, Eva, Ben Chisholm, Neil McKenzie, David Titterington, Ethan Berry, May Surkoff, Wordy Ginters, Chris H., and Patrick Weiss. Thank you, every one of you people, for supporting us and for keeping the show going. I hope you continue your support as we make our way through future episodes and perhaps even On the Air is coming. And also to everyone else that supports us on all the other levels or just tells people and listens to us week to week. So thank you. Let's get back to Judy's Diner, or let's get back to the show in case I cut it somewhere else. Cooper's going to stop at Judy's Diner. He gets some info about another employee and takes care of 3 unruly customers.
The moment of just seeing that Judy's Diner sign is fantastic. You got the giant power lines behind the sign as well, the big transformer up there. As Cooper comes in, I love that older couple getting coffee, sitting at the table there. The diner's just set up so weird with that big empty space and the two of them at the other end of the room getting their coffee. And Cooper's looking around like he's definitely expecting something. Like he just knows that Laura is supposed to be here. This, following the literal sign of Judy's Diner.
It's almost as if Judy is knowledge or a knowing, Dan. Almost.
Except things don't quite go the way they'd expect here. He asked, do you have the name of the actress who plays the waitress? Because her performance is...
Yeah, Francesca Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's daughter.
Oh, is it? She's wonderful, because when he asks about, is there another waitress that works here? And just that look of like, who is this guy? And why are you asking?
She's great.
She's fantastic. She says it's her day off. It's her third day off is great. We get the 3 guys... manhandling her, and Cooper, of course, has to try to jump in and save her. Again, like, is he saving her for the sake of being good? Is he, is this idea of like, is he this knight errant who's out there trying to save people, or is it a more of like this archetype of this is what he's supposed to do? But regardless of how it works out, he is very much Cooper here in this moment in terms of disarming the guy, kicking the other guy, shooting dead shot right in the toe, exactly where we wanted to get him. Like, this is all like perfect Cooper.
I think this is Mr. C.
Oh, interesting.
100%. This is put someone better at your front door, Beulah.
Oh, interesting.
He kicks a guy in the nuts.
I guess Cooper wouldn't do that, maybe. Maybe?
No. Cooper also wouldn't say when he's offered coffee, nothing, and just motion down. Like, he is not Cooper. That's why he is Richard, and the transformation starts when they get to that hotel. The sex magic completes it, and he is now a totally different person that is part Cooper, part Mr. C. But to me, this was all Mr. C. When I saw this, I was like, this is Mr. C really fucking these guys up, just like, bam, bam, bam. He also puts the guns in the fryer.
Yep.
Ruins dinner and lunch service for the rest of the thing.
That's true. That was not very nice.
Telling the cook, like, you better get away or you're going to get shot. Yeah.
Like, barely any regard for safety, though he does tell the cook he might want to get out of the way. But like, yeah, that at first in my head is like, this is going to kill somebody. But you're totally right, because this whole time that he's going through all of this, after the action that we just had, he almost feels like he's sleepwalking through this. Like, he is very much in a daze. So that's why I said, like, it's this like, is he Cooper, is he not? But maybe this what you're kind of describing is like he is all these things at once, or alternating, or coming through. But he definitely feels so completely off here. His affect is strange. It's slow. It's almost dreamlike. you just really can't trust that it's Cooper. That was what was in my note, is like that I wanted to come to, is like, who is this? Because it doesn't feel like Cooper, and the way that you're describing it really does make sense to me here. So that's great.
To me, he feels impatient and not bored, but like I guess impatient. Like he knows what he wants. He knows to get it. He's like, give me the name already. You're giving me the name. Like, he's short with people. He wants to get to what he's doing, and it's more like he's seen the whole game as well, and like he just wants to get past this part. And this is all like almost like a waste of his time, that he just wants to get to where he wants to get to. 3 notes about the people that he beats up. One of them's Heath Hensley, a stunt performer. The other person's Rob Mars, a stunt performer. But the third guy, Matt Battaglia, was the cop. I don't know if you remember it, going way back to episode 22, the Diane Keaton one, was the cop that was like interviewing. I think it's at the aftermath of the James story.
How did you meet him, Mrs. Morse?
Jeffrey's Jaguar broke down near Wally's. I went in to use the phone. He offered to help.
Okay, we'll check there.
He's from that episode. We talked about him there, so it's nice to see him.
Wait, the cop's in the bar?
No, not the Maytag. Although I think he may be one of the people. This is like when they're in the cops are taking statements after James, I believe, has left.
Okay,
they're in the house. Malcolm is probably saying like whatever, blah blah blah. Because
I do remember the scene.
Husband's dead.
Okay, I didn't recognize that. I mean, I wouldn't have recognized him, but that's cool to see.
I don't know who the cook is, and I don't know who the older couple are, but I really like the older couple.
Love them.
And this diner is like, it's not Haps.
No.
It's not the Double R. It's so empty. There's so much empty space in like the middle of it. And you imagine with all the cowboy pictures, like they have dancing or something, maybe some on Wednesdays.
This I was thinking like it was line dancing or something for sure.
Yeah, something's going on there. I love that like she writes, when she's writing the address on that piece of paper of the other waitress, and he's like,
where does this go?
What?
Where do you hang this?
Above in the slop.
And his line about I'm with the FBI.
I'm with the FBI.
Compared to I am the FBI also is a thing that stands out at me. He is not Cooper. He's
with Cooper, who is the FBI, but he's not Cooper.
Yes.
That's cool.
Exactly.
That's cool. Well, just like the one of the cowboys says here at the end, what the fuck just happened is great. Also, the second guy that got shot in the foot, just bouncing around on one foot in the background. Just again, throughout all of this, strange things happening, but you get these little moments of like, that's just damn funny.
It was a great moment. But yeah, like I had joked about before, to me, this is Judy. This is where he was going to Judy. And when Philip Jeffries said to Cooper, you know, you're going to find Judy there, he wasn't talking about going in the past and getting Laura. He was talking about now.
This is where you'll find Judy.
This is where we're going to find Judy, and we see her. It's the name of the restaurant or the diner. Tell Gordon, he'll remember both timelines, because Gordon is David Lynch, who exists somewhere out in this world, because we're sort of in the real world at this point. And also, when we talk about like Cooper remembering both timelines in the way that he kind of does, he was always kind of a stand-in for. Not a stand-in for David Lynch, but even Kyle MacLachlan said, I copied a lot of his mannerisms about David Lynch, who was also playing Cooper. So it's a lot of really interesting connections to deal with. All right, so Cooper now arrives at the waitress's address looking for Laura Palmer, but finds Carrie Page instead.
Great moment. We get the Cooper pulling up in front of the address and the power pole with the 6 on it right there. So from the short film that the fireman showed Andy.
Which I think is another sign like this is connected to the junction box that is the place above the convenience store.
Right. I mean, it makes me think like this is a node of power that is like infecting this area as well. So that's why Carrie has to be there, or Laura. Cooper knocks on the door, says they're from the FBI, and Carrie, the woman, before we know who it is. Anyway, Carrie opens the door and says, "Did you find him?"
Did you find him?
Laura.
You didn't find him?
Laura.
You got the wrong house, mister.
She's so excited to have cops there. And given her situation of what's going on, cops should be the last person I expect her to want to see. We find out she's got a rotting guy with a bullet through the brains splattered on the wall. It looks like he's been there a while because his stomach is decomposed or whatever, the gas filling up in his stomach. Yeah. Looks like his hands are up, like he's maybe trying to defend himself or something. But cops is probably the last thing that she needs, but Carrie was very excited to see him.
Right. Carrie says, did you find him? Like, that's a mystery I want to know. Like, she's in another story.
Yeah.
What is that story? And, her stone remains sort of Laura, but she's this other person. But I want to know what her story is.
It's just an interesting moment there. And Cooper's just trying to insist, you're Laura Palmer, and just insist that, again, like he's putting this on her. You are this woman. You're this girl. Your father's name is Leland Palmer. No reaction from her. Okay. Your mother's name is Sarah. And that moment of her, that slow blink of what's going on. Oh, I just got chills just thinking of her performance. I love that moment. It
sends her reeling.
God, it's so good. But Sarah is the one that does it for her. Leland, who has so much emotional weight for Laura, isn't the thing that reminds her, but Sarah does is really interesting.
She's wearing a horseshoe necklace, which of course the white horse, that is a big part of her. She's got that on. The horse is the white of the eyes. She has no idea, as you're saying, who Laura is. But yeah, I gotta agree with you on Leland. An acknowledgement, like, okay, my dad is sort of Leland, maybe, like, okay, that checks out. And then Sarah, it's like the rug's pulled from under her.
I don't know what you want, but I'm not her.
Your father's name was Leland.
Okay.
Your mother's name is Sarah.
Said Sarah?
Yes, Sarah.
What's going on?
And she's like, okay, now this is a whole other world. And she's like, what's going on at that point where it's like she's now getting pulled into the other world that she was also a part of. And it's just neat to really see that affect her in that way.
I agree definitely with, like I said, with the Sarah part. For the Leland part, the way that I read her expression was like, okay, psycho, not okay, maybe that's right.
Oh, I didn't read it like that. Yeah, not for me.
No, I felt like there was absolutely nothing. It was all Sarah. Sarah, the frog moth, the girl from part 8.
Absolutely, 100% Sarah. But I, for myself, I think she definitely is saying, okay, that's anybody could figure out my dad is Leland or whatever, as opposed to my dad's not Leland.
I just was like, okay, psycho, but
it doesn't matter. I mean, that point is just whatever. But he wants to take her to her mother's home, like your home. And again, this is what he was trying to do in the other world. He's trying to pull her out of her life without even really asking her and take her home. Whether it's in the woods, I'm taking you home, or here, I'm taking you home. It's awesome.
Again, yeah, you're like you said, she has treating her with no agency. He is telling her what's going to happen. Well, she goes along with her because she's, like she says, she's got to get out of Dodge and she feels safer with the FBI. This moment of where are we going? Twin Peaks, Washington, D.C. No, state, Washington State. I just love this. Carrie Page is very funny at this scene. You clip this as well and put this on Instagram, but this moment of her when she says, she's packing her bag, getting ready to go. Cooper sees the dead guy there. She comes back out with her bag. She's got her coat. She says, wait.
I don't have any food here.
I'll get us some food on the way.
All right. Let's go.
All right, then. Let's go. It's one of my favorite moments in all of Twin Peaks. She's hilarious. But then the next moment, he goes out the door. She turns around to close the door. And that look on her face as she's looking at giving that body a last look, giving this life a last look as she closes the door. It's able to turn on a moment like that so quickly. It's terrific. As Carrie's going off to get her stuff, Cooper's looking around the room, also sees on the mantle a blue plate with a white horse figurine in front of it.
Yeah, well, the white horse in the counter associated with murder, drugs, and the Palmers. The white horse we saw after Laura disappeared in part 2 when the wind revealed an empty room. But the horse is in front of the moon, or a blue moon. Now, rock and roll, Elvis, 1956.
Blue moon, you saw me standing alone.
It's the same year as the frog moth that landed in the New Mexico desert. We were also to watch out for that one, the one under the moon.
Watch for that one. The one I told you about. The one under the moon on Blue Pine Mountain.
Of Blue Pine Mountain, as the log lady told us. Now, the Platters' My Prayer song that we heard in this episode was playing before the Woodsmen arrived at the radio station in 1956. At the time, I had talked about how that could be seen as a metaphor of like the arrival of rock and roll, and specifically Elvis.
Everybody knows that the 50s had the most fantastic explosion of music with the birth of rock and roll. And it was so fantastic. You know, in Boise, Idaho, I never really was exposed to rhythm and blues or even rockabilly that was going on in different places. But I was sort of suddenly just like almost violently aware of this fantastic music coming from Elvis Presley.
And will he come in and say, like, I want this to be a little bigger, or I want this to be a little...
The words that he uses would be like, I need more of a wind.
Really?
Yeah. Or
he's like a Zen master
more
about
mystery here. Or
wow.
One of my favorites is Elvis. Think Elvis.
Here we can see a reference to Blue Moon, literally there's a dead body on the couch. So again, it's like the Platters and then violence and stuff that's coming out of this. And the idea of like, this is a huge metaphor for Twin Peaks. Like, we have this amazing story. There is Carrie Page, the phones are ringing. Who is calling on the phone? There is a dead body on the couch.
Yeah.
And he is a detective, and he's not interested in the new mystery. We're only interested in going back to Twin Peaks. We got to get you back to Twin Peaks. We got to go back to Twin Peaks. It's like you're in the middle of a mystery.
Yeah.
And it's right here, and we're not seeing it.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
wonderful.
a great point. Yep.
Someone once asked Cheryl Lee,
They'll return when they find the missing pages of the diary. There's still one page missing. You know the answer. You know if Carrie Page is that missing page.
Holy. That is so cool the way you just did that.
because Hawk found 4 pages from Laura Palmer's diary. They only recovered 3 of them. There was still a missing page.
And these pages are for sure from Laura's diary.
Yeah, these are from her diary, the diary found at her friend Harold Smith's. These are 3 of the 4 pages that we saw were torn out, missing. And there's still one missing.
And here we have Carrie Page, so.
There you go.
I always thought that was cool.
Yeah, the page name really did make me think of the diary, but I honestly forgot there was a missing page as well. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you have a missing page. Very cool idea. So Cooper is going to drive Carrie to Washington State, and along the way, they're going to stop at a gas station.
Once she's already in the vehicle, she does wonder maybe, is he actually FBI? But he shows the badge, so everything's cool. And she's just glad to get out of Odessa. So moving on with her story here. And then we get this long drive. Another one. This is like almost 2 minutes of silence as they go. They have this whole moment of tension as it seems like someone's following them. Carrie's, worried maybe whatever this other story that she's fleeing from is still chasing her. Someone's after her. She gets down and hides as well. But no, it turns out that someone's just tailgating them and passed them. So you get this whole tension for no payoff. It's, Cooper and Carrie driving through the night silently. Again, very similar to Cooper and Diane. Mr. C driving with Richard, not saying a word. Second most awkward car ride in the world now. So just a lot of these moments repeated, but just taking so much time doing this. Yet Carrie, as she's kind of falling asleep there, talking about Odessa, tried to keep a clean house, keep everything organized. It's a long way. And then she says, in those days, I was too young to know any better.
In those days, I was too young to know any better.
So it's just is this a moment of the two selves kind of merging as she's kind of falling asleep or kind of coming to the surface? But really, then we get to the gas station. Literally nothing happens at the gas station convenience store, but it's just like very mundane. It's not the supernatural place, the room above the convenience store, none of this. So all in all, it's about like more than 7 minutes from then until they cross the bridge, like presumably into Twin Peaks, where it's just silence. And this is the point of wow, watching the clock. There is not a lot of time left. How much more are we going to get to see? But this is what we're getting. Is just this being in it as opposed to this kind of action happening.
Sure. No, this is such a long car ride. And yeah, like you said, when you watch this the first time, you really feel it. And it feels like you're on a long car ride. I love this. I love this scene, and I like the scene more and more the more I watch it. It reminds me very much of Inland Empire. And before The Return, I had watched Inland Empire, and I loved Inland Empire. So I think I was prepped for this style of filmmaking. But Cheryl Lee is brilliant in this performance. I would love to see a Carrie Page anything. There's so much. We just take our time with her and just feeling these things. And when she talks about she tried to keep a clean house, you're reminded of it's in our house now, that the fireman had told us. Yeah. And she tried to keep everything organized. And it's when she says, in those days, I was too young to know any better, she could very well be talking about herself, Cheryl Lee, doing Fire Walk with Me and doing some of these things and the way that her life was and everything. Mm-hmm. And as well as Laura Palmer, like you're saying, it's certainly that character as well bleeding through. I find it really moving because you're in the car with them. And it really feels viscerally like you've been driving for 7 hours and it's quiet and there's no need to cut. And we're just driving, and just the way she delivers her line, I just really like it. It puts me in this almost like a trance, and her performance is really great. And Inland Empire, if you don't mind scenes like this, I would highly recommend Inland Empire. It's a great film. So now we're gonna arrive in Twin Peaks, or will be.
They're coming into Twin Peaks over the bridge. We get the double R, dark and empty. The streets are empty. Obviously, it must be late at night because he mentions later, sorry to bother you so late, but it's just this empty town. It is just an empty set. None of the things that we would recognize. It's just kind of all barren. Asking Carrie if she recognizes anything. She doesn't see anything that she recognizes. And Cooper asking, do you recognize that house, as they pull up and park in front of it? And as Carrie says no, it almost reads to me as a little sad or disappointed. Maybe she's kind of hoping this long journey, however long hours they've been in the car together, is going to actually lead to something. And, she felt that moment of the Sarah Palmer, and maybe, as she's falling asleep, that recollection, maybe she expected or hoped that something would happen. But to me, it's no, that nothing is there. Maybe that's just me, but it really felt hoping that something would happen, but didn't.
There's a great shot of the road that just dissolves into Carrie Page's head. I love the transition from the road to the interior of the car. Now, you can see Cheryl Lee tearing up just before they come to that rusted bridge. That bridge was in the pilot. It's also in Fire Walk with Me. It's behind Chet Desmond when he's at the Fat Trap. It's not Ronette's bridge, it's near where Ronette's bridge is, but it's the bridge, if you remember in the pilot, when they're pursuing Joey Polson.
Oh yeah.
And they pull over and follow the bike. They go
Gotcha.
Over this bridge. We do not see the sign. Every other time you go into Twin Peaks, you see the Twin Peaks sign. We don't see the Twin Peaks sign. We are in, which I get, this is North Bend, right? Everett is where their house is. But the double R is in North Bend. So I think we're in North Bend. So we see the double R on the corner of Bendigo Boulevard and North Bend Way, which is the location of the real restaurant.
Right.
It's not the location of the double R in the world of Twin Peaks, as you know, because you have the maps, because you somehow got a copy of the access guide, and you know that it's located on different streets. this is the
Right.
real world. Like somehow we have passed into the real world, or as close to the real world as you can get. I mean, we're still inside of a story. This is a story in a story, a dream in a dream in a dream. But yeah, so then we're going to pull up, and then Cooper and Carrie arrive at the location of the Palmer home. They knock on the door, and they're greeted by its owner, Alice Tremond. Interesting.
Cooper, Richard, whomever takes Carrie's hand and leads her up to the door. I kind of mentioned this in a previous part when we talk about Cooper leading Laura through the woods, kind of outstretched hand, kind of pulling her through the woods. Here, kind of walking up with Carrie side by side, the two of them together.
But he's still pulling her. It's still like this, still pulling her home.
At first, he does take her by the hand, but then the two of them do go up the stairs together, which I think is just a nice difference between how he was behaving before.
Okay.
But he did take her here this whole way.
Yeah, I definitely see the parallel too. Yeah, he said, "I'm taking you home," and he literally took her home by the hand.
Throughout all of this, again, Cheryl's performance, the slow blinks that Carrie has reminds me a little bit of Dougie a bit, but like this, am I awake or am I asleep? What is going on? She's got these beautiful big eyes. Those slow blinks really just, what is happening? As she, Alice opens the door. Alice, by the way, doesn't even look at the badge. Just takes on face, sure, this is the FBI. Is there Sarah there? No, she doesn't know her. And then to hear, like, who sold them the house? Mrs. Chalfont. Amazing. Just really cool. They don't know who sold it to Mrs. Chalfont, because who would? But that was great. And then to hear that it's Alice Tremond at the end. Just cool.
Right. Who sold it to you, Mrs. Chalfont? And who did they buy it from? Hold on. I don't know.
We don't know. Yes, it's so good. Yeah. Anyway, just to get the Chalfont and Tremond into this last moment that we're getting here is very cool. But good. Tell me what you see.
Yeah. So the woman answering is Mary Reber, the actual owner of the home. I'm sure she's answered that door for hundreds of people. Doesn't know who Sarah Palmer is. When Cooper knocks on the door and she answers, she's talking to someone off screen, which is kind of a mirror of when Sarah Palmer answered the door for Hawk, and you heard like things off screen. Is like, is someone in there with you?
Somebody in the house?
No. No, just something in the kitchen.
You're okay then.
It's a goddamn bad story, isn't it, Hawk?
But here, someone's in there looking in the same direction in the house. It reminds me very much of Sarah Palmer. That's who they're looking for, Sarah Palmer, but they're outside of the story. They're not in that moment. She drops the Alice Tremond bombshell. The Chalfonts and the Tremonts, the old woman and her grandson, they're connected to this place. Now, I actually talked to Mary Reber about shooting this scene. Like, how did you become part of the story?
Well, the whole story probably is in David Lynch's mind, but Location Guy came out. So he said a director from Hollywood would be coming out on January 1st, 2015. So David was here January, April, July, always bringing more people with him, and then filming in October for 12 days. So it was the second time around. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of, I stayed here the whole time. He's by the door working out a scene, which now I know is the finale scene, but I didn't know it then, obviously. And so he was working at the door. I was in the kitchen doing, making coffee, donuts and cherry pie and the typical thing. And he comes walking in and he just says, "Are you an actress?" "No." "Have you ever acted?" "No." "Would you like to do a small part in the movie?" And I said, "Sure." So that's how that all happened. But I just come to find out from Sabrina Sutherland that I wasn't cast because I was the homeowner. He just wrote that in. So when he first met me in January, I think he wanted to use me somewhere, but I didn't know where. And I just believe in my mind that he was writing the finale scene at the door with me in mind. Not necessarily a true fourth wall, because otherwise I'd be Mary, but it was similar.
Yeah, and that tracks to a lot of other stories I've heard about how he would work in that way, where he just sees someone he knows he wants to use them. He's not sure where, but it's the right person for the right moment. And I'm sure as soon as he saw you, he knew that you were going to be in it in some fashion.
Yeah, because his auditions are not standing there reading a script. His auditions are like what you and I are doing right now. I'm
Mhm.
talking to you. I'm kind of getting your personality. I'm hearing the cadence in your voice. And that's how David likes to do it, I guess.
So once you agree to it, and what a wonderful gift and opportunity that is. You're in the scene, right? So Kyle MacLachlan is there, Cheryl Lee is there, David's there with you. Can you share what the experience working with him? Is he giving you direction? In your own words, like how did that go?
Oh, it was incredible. I was nervous, of course, because that's kind of out of my comfort zone, but it was therapeutic for me as well. So it was he David and I hear this from other actors too. He doesn't fill your mind with how he wants you to do something. You know your lines, you get the feel for what you're supposed to do, and then you just deliver it and it's raw. I mean, I was nervous, I was excited. He probably figured that's a perfect combination for how somebody would act if an FBI agent came to the door at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it took 2 takes. We did a practice take. He said it went really well. Actually, the guy goes, his first AD goes, "You mean it wasn't perfect?" And he goes, "Nothing's perfect." So he always does things a second time. And obviously, Kyle and Cheryl are just incredible. They make anybody look good. So, it all just worked really well. But David's just known for kind of like, you do your thing, and if he needs to tweak it, he will.
So you're great in that scene. And I think you talked about whatever nerves or internal stuff you had going on feeds so well into the moment thematically and contextually within that scene. Like your performance is great. So it's wonderful to hear that you had never acted before.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think the nerves were a positive thing for me. The excitement was a positive thing for me. David just I've heard this more often than not. He's just a great director. He knows how to pull things from people. He kind of can see where you're at and he uses that. He knew I was probably a little nervous. And we were supposed to have that 10-second pause in between our lines. So when Kyle is saying Special Agent Dale Cooper, Sarah Palmer here.
I'm Special Agent Dale Cooper. Is Sarah Palmer here?
Who?
Sarah Palmer.
No, there's no one here by that name. I'm supposed to wait 10 seconds because it builds anxiety naturally if someone's staring at you when you ask them a question. And then you can edit time out, but you can't edit it back in.
Now you're counting in your head the 10 seconds to when you have to speak.
Kind of. It's just, that's why it seems really awkward at the door with our conversation.
Mhm.
And, he had to do the same thing. Yeah, you kind of learn it. You kind of figure out what he's asking for. He's just really good at direction. He's a great director. And it's funny because we were getting ready to do the first take at the door. And I looked at David and I said, "Who is Alice Tremond?" And he just looks at me and he said, "Now, Mary, that's just something you don't need to know." So, which is, it's typical David Lynch.
For me, the worst nightmare in the world would be to hang out with David Lynch and him tell me what it actually means, because it would kill all of the wonderful dreams. So I love not knowing.
Absolutely. And he let me pronounce it the way I wanted to as well. I said, "Is it Tremond or is it Tremond like Donna says in the series?" And he just kind of stood there for a second and he goes, "You know what? I don't really know." He said, "Say it the way you want to say it." So I put life into Tremond instead of Tremond.
I'm with you. That's exactly how I say it as well. If somebody wanted to book a tour with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, the best way to do that is visit palmerhouse.com rather than reaching out on social media, because there it gives you an idea of what each tour package includes. and pricing, and then there's a spot on there where you can actually email me, and I'll get the email and set up a tour.
This was so great to hear your experience working with David Lynch. It was such a loss to lose him, and to speak with you and to kind of get in your head a little bit and to see what that moment was like. It is such a wonderful ending to some of the best television we may ever see, and you were a part of it, so I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much. It was really fun to do this, and I just have to say it was it was an incredible experience to be able to work with him, and Kyle and Cheryl and Grace was here, and it was just, for me, it was very, very therapeutic and just a wonderful experience.
So yeah, I was so excited. I got to talk to Mary Reber. Now, I only put a portion of that conversation here, but for our Patreon listeners, I talked to her about 20 minutes. I'll put the whole talk. You can hear a little bit about how she bought the house and some other information over on our Patreon. She also said, that I found very interesting, she went to a book signing. This part is not in the interview, so you'll actually get my voice, unfortunately, because I stopped recording and then she told me this little cool anecdote. She went to a Mark Frost book signing for Secret History and was like, "Oh, I'm in the show." And he was like, who'd you play? And she was like, "Alice Tremond." And he had no idea. So I think that feeds into her theory that he literally just kind of was like, this is what's going to happen, and you're going to be Alice Tremond.
What is so cool, having just listened to your interview, and folks are going to get to hear this soon, Mark Frost talking about working with David and how they had this idea of beat the page on the stage and trying to beat what they had. This is a perfect example of that, right? Where he's like, they had something in mind, and maybe he wanted to put her there, maybe he didn't, but it was in the moment and finding the thing as they're trying to work out that moment and then putting her into that spot. It's a perfect example. That's so very cool and excellent that you got to talk to her about this.
Yeah, she was super nice. And the fact that she owns the house and she's answering it is more fuel that we are in some upper level of almost reality, that we are out with. This is not Twin Peaks. She's answered this door many times for many people.
But that distinction that she makes, that you said, that's not quite breaking the fourth wall entirely. It's not her name. It's Alice Tremond. Just that subtle level, like we're not through that last membrane into reality anymore. We still have a screen between us and this world. That's great.
But yes, it does add a little wrinkle. And when you think about you think about this scene and how much it mirrors episode 16 when Donna goes to the Tremond's house near Harold Smith's.
May I help you?
Is Mrs. Tremond home?
I'm Mrs. Tremond.
Well, it must have been your mother I spoke to.
My mother? She passed away 3 years ago. I live here alone, honey.
No, she was here. I spoke to her. And her grandson, he was here too.
But I have no children.
Like, you have that whole thing. And then we have the Chalfonts.
Can you tell me whose trailer it was and who stayed in it?
An old woman and her grandson.
Can you tell me what their names were?
Chalfont. As a matter of fact, Chalfont was the name of the people that rented this space before. 2 Chalfonts. Weird, huh?
So we've got this Chalfont, Tremont. You know, they're going from place to place. They're occupying space. They're clearly connected.
It's cool.
It's great stuff. All right, so they're unable to find what they're looking for, Dan. Cooper and Carrie come to a realization.
We got the two of them walking slowly away from the house down many, many steps. Again, side by side here. Both of them kind of unsure what's next. Didn't notice the house number is 208. So it's 10. Number completion. Cooper pacing back and forth again with Carrie Page standing there in the middle of the street, slow blinking eyes, not quite sure what's happening here, what's next. Cooper's realization of what year is this? Just amazing. Just an amazing moment. And at that moment, hearing Sarah's voice from the pilot calling up the stairs to Laura, hearing that overlaid on top of this, you get that same scream from Laura as she's getting ripped out of the story. Giving that scream right there is incredible. The lights in the house go out. There's a flash of light on the porch and then blackness. What an amazing way to just getting goosebumps. I'm remembering this portion. I don't understand it all. I don't quite get it, but emotionally it packs quite a punch. Just a great moment. And then we get the credits with Laura whispering in Cooper's ear. Help me make some sense of this, man. Or you tell me what your feeling is here.
Sure. How many times have you asked, what year is this?
Constantly.
Just in this watching. Like, is it 1989? Is it 1990? What year is this?
February 1989.
Man, Laura looking up at the house and hearing Sarah and seeing the fan. To me, this is the engine, the idea factory, like the restarting the story. In my head, this scene restarts the machine. It restarts the story. This recreates the world of Twin Peaks. The ending of Twin Peaks is and will always be the end of Fire Walk with Me. That is the end of Twin Peaks. This thing, not that this thing doesn't count or that this is a distraction or this is something that we don't pay attention to or a closed loop that disappears or anything. This all happens, but this is like jump starting the thing. Like the mystery that you're given at the end of this show breathes new life into this. To know what she says here, like, because we can talk about it, I can ask you, what do you think people say? What do you think she's saying to Cooper? Just like we did in part 16 when we heard My Father Killed Me, it will destroy the show again. And part 18 creates this beautiful, endless mystery, lingering on that shot of Laura whispering into Cooper's ear. That image will save us. It's all about what we don't hear. It doesn't mean we're not supposed to talk about it. It doesn't mean we're not supposed to think about it and make podcasts about it and just endlessly contemplate and think and add layers and texture. All of that is true, but we should never know what it's saying. And it's so pretty, that final shot as well. It's like very desaturated. It's almost black and white, which makes you think is the official timeline of like when we think about the black and white and the coloring thing. And again, listen to Laura, listen to the sounds, listen to what she's trying to tell us about her abuse. Mystery is the anti-Judy. Like the only way to stop Judy is to preserve and maintain mystery. And I feel like that does it. And it's her coming back and hearing the story come out into the world and pulling us in and just boom, like start that freaking lightning machine. Just crank that shit on 10.
Wow. I can't add on to that. That is a beautiful way to end our conversation about the show of Twin Peaks.
Oh, it's so sad,
it's
Dan.
incredible.
It's so
it really is.
sad.
I mean, that is a great way.
Well, it's not over yet because we still do have a final dossier to cover that is new materials, very interesting stuff in there. And also, it's always there to rewatch.
Even though throughout our entire conversation of all 18 parts, all I've been trying to do is unlock the mystery. I want to know answers. I want to know pieces. You know, we've talked about this a number of times of like, just let it come. You don't need to, follow the stone one by one. It doesn't actually matter. At the very end of all of this, that's where I am. Is I don't know. That's okay. I like the way that it feels, and I like the way the kind of the open questions that it's left me with. And, at some point I will come back and revisit all this again. When we reboot the podcast and we start from the very beginning and go through.
I don't know if I have, if I could, never say never. I would never say never. But yeah, it would be maybe in the future or something. But I'm just so happy to revisit this world and to go back in it and meet so many people and then really just like kind of obsess over this stuff in a time when I needed it.
Like Eric said, thank you everybody for coming along with us as we watched all of the filmed media and all the things in between that have come to this point. So we still have the final dossier, so stick with us. We're going to be talking, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have things that you want us to discuss together, respond to your theories or your questions, or pick apart moments from the show, please get in touch with us right on all the socials. Eric, is checking 20 tabs a day, looking to catch all the comments. So please check. Eric's taking 20 tabs a day. So please send us your questions. We're going to do a listener question show. Obviously, if you're a member of the Patreon and you drop a question there, we'll be sure to respond to you. So if anything you want to discuss, please drop it there.
So yes, thank you all. Again, we're not going anywhere. I'm not sure if we're going to do like 7 episodes to do on the air, or if we do it in 2 or 3 or something, because they're short. I don't know how Dan's going to react to on the air. It could go south.
I'm excited.
We'll see. It's an acquired taste, I think, to a point, but I think it's brilliant. I love it. That's no surprise, I guess, for some of you at this point. But yeah, let's let's say goodbye. Next week, Mark Frost. After that, we'll be back with Final Dossier and a lot more stuff to come. Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots? The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again. And in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.